Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user MoneyMoneyHoney. 24 female, I feel really used by my 25 male brother because I have money and he doesn't. My grandfather and my brother Ted never got on. It was obvious from when Ted was little. Grandpa Gary wasn't the nicest guy, but Ted has some personality issues that made him break things just to be a little a-hole. He would just drop dishes to see what people did. We were never told kids should be responsible for their behavior. It was not how I was raised, and I don't believe all bullish behavior falls to the parents, as guilty people. Ted just had issues and nothing anyone did worked. Grandpa Gary died when I was 18 and Ted was 19. Grandpa Gary left everything to me. I mean everything. The house, his car, his money. I even got his cats. My parents got some heirlooms and a little money from his insurance, but everything else went to me. We don't have cousins and my parents don't have siblings, so it wasn't a surprise. Grandpa Gary told my parents he wouldn't leave Ted anything because Ted was an a-hole. I remember then commenting on how Grandpa Gary wasn't wrong because Ted has always been an a-hole. Even as a kid, he bullied me enough and destroyed things for no reason that I am not inclined to disagree. Then again, my parents didn't win the children lottery with me either. I've been called a bitch by some people, though therapy has helped me understand that my past has a lot to do with the excuses I used to make. Either way, I'm working on my issues. Ted didn't, and he became an adult a-hole. Anyway, my parents told me to give Ted some of the money Grandpa Gary left me. I disagreed because I believed that they didn't have the right to demand that of me. At the time, Ted and I were not talking due to his bullying. He used to make a big deal out of my weight, even though I was healthy. He also embarrassed me, stole from me, and broke my stuff, so I moved out. I ended up moving into Grandpa Gary's house, and it was great. I had the money for college, my own space, and my parents couldn't really do anything about it. They asked if Ted could stay with me. I said no, so I have been doing pretty well. I didn't spend all the money at once. I actually had someone help me invest. I have been living in the same house and have a job I love. I live off my salary and save the money Grandpa Gary gave me. I have been dating on and off, but I'm pretty content with my life. Ted came back into my life last year. His wife left him and he pays a ton of child support for his 2 kids. Since he has come back, I have seen him every time I visit my parents. He lives with them. It is insufferable to visit my parents at all. They keep telling me I should let Ted live with me. I should be a good sister and give him money to pay off his debts. That Grandpa Gary would have wanted it if he knew Ted had kids, which isn't true. Grandpa Gary hated Ted, and I am not much of a fan either. I try to go when Ted is not there, but he comes home because my mom texts him. He has been cornering me and trying to hang out. We went to a bar and he told the bartender off the bat that he was on my tab. I paid in cash, so there was no mysterious tab. If Ted had been an awesome brother, I might help him out. But he is kind of a loser and I don't really want much to do with him. It might make me selfish, but I have a happy life and don't feel inclined to give Ted a hand. How do I handle this? Well, OP, you're not obligated to help your brother if you don't want to, and he sounds like an ass, so maybe you just don't. Don't listen to your parents, they can't force you to do anything, no matter how much they ask. And if you're tired of having that conversation and would like to talk about something else with them, tell them. Next time it happens, just shut it down. Tell them to stop it or you won't visit them anymore, because who wants to put themselves in a situation that sucks? And if they don't stop, then you need to follow through. I mean, I don't know what your response is every time they ask you. Maybe you just sit there and, wait for them to finish so you can change the topic. But don't. Just tell them, you know what, guys? I'm sick of this conversation. I'm not gonna help out my brother. I have no reason to. And that's it. Drop it. Or at least that's what I would do if I was in your situation based on what you've told us. And what about you guys? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes, or what kind of advice would you give her? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Steady Girl Steady says, you may want to put some distance between yourself and your parents. Make it clear you don't want to see Ted. If your mom texts him and he shows up, leave. Then decline their next invitation and be clear about why. You don't want to see Ted. Your parents may be super resentful and say you're being a bad daughter or sister, but those feelings are theirs to deal with, not yours. It can be difficult to establish boundaries, but you can make this one. If Ted is there, you are not. Maybe a couple of years down the road, you can relax your position, especially if Ted improves himself. But for now, having him around is just causing you to stress and giving him an opportunity to try to mooch off you. And that thing with the bar tab was seriously disrespectful. Nana Leone says, "Weird family you have there, OP. What strikes me the most is how your parents keep trying to palm Ted and his issues off on you instead of helping him themselves. You say nothing the parents tried to do to help Ted modify his obnoxious behavior as a child work. Did they really try all that hard? Whatever. If your parents want Ted's debts paid, they should pay the debts themselves. You are totally right not to be sucked into your parents' efforts to force you to get Ted out of their house and support him financially." That being said, is it weird I actually find myself feeling a little sorry for Ted? His whole life is effed because of his obnoxious personality and actions. Nobody likes him. Not his sister, his parents, his grandpa, his ex, and probably not his kids. The guy should join the military and go far, far away. And OP responds, "Yeah, it's not a huge surprise. Ted has been overlooked for a bit and they don't want to deal with him anymore." Spring-heeled Jill says, "You seem to be handling this very well, OP. Consider letting your parents know that you only wish to spend time with them, not Ted, that you will leave if Ted is there. They will try more than once to push the issue, but each time Ted just happens to be there when you were told he wasn't, you walk. You remind them of the terms of contact, them and you, no Ted, or you leave. Then you walk out. Out of the house, the restaurant, the bowling alley, whatever, back to your nice life. Unless your parents really want nothing to do with you, they will be forced to compromise and see you alone. They will push the damned envelope like you cannot believe it at first, but they can't guilt you if you're not there. Leave." OP's edit. The bar tab thing is just one example of the many things he's done to me. He's done other stuff like going into my purse. Before I moved out, he used to steal from me all the time. He was 19 or 20 when he stole money from me the last time. The fact that he put drinks on my tab and tries to make me feel bad about my life doesn't make me love being around him. Alright, well, the community gave OP some solid and clear advice on what she should do about this thing. So now let's move on to the update to see what ended up happening. Hi everyone, some of you have been asking for an update, so here it is. First off, I got fantastic advice in a PM. I wrote down what I wanted to say and then informed my parents I would be over to speak with them. I outlined everything that Ted has done to me in the past, from stealing to bullying to making fun of my friends. I told them that he has not changed and I would not be including Ted in my life. Ted hasn't asked for custody of his kids and never wants to see them. He just needs money to pay back child support. He spent the money on himself. He had it, he just didn't want to spend it on kids he didn't want anymore. I let my parents know that I have invested the money given to me and was not going to be putting it towards Ted. When I die, the money would be going to a charity and that I planned to not be a cash cow for Ted, ever. My parents were not happy about that. They told me they wanted Ted out of their house. He had been doing nothing but making their lives hard. I pointed them in the direction of a page about our state's month-to-month tenant laws. They gave Ted his formal get-out papers this morning. He has 30 days to get out or they will evict him. They wanted him to stay with me to feel less guilty. They thought I might be able to show him how to straighten up. If it hasn't happened by now, I doubt it would. I told them that they had screwed up by not fixing this when Ted was younger. That Grandpa Gary knew the type of person Ted was and left me the money for a reason. I wasn't going to piss on Grandpa Gary's grave by saying, "Here, Ted, never learn from your mistakes." Also, I hate Ted. I don't like being near him. I tried to hang out with him a few times just to see if he could change. Nope. Now he has the legal right to do whatever he wants short of a crime, and that makes him an even bigger a-hole. "I'm an adult and I can do what I like" is a terrible power for a-holes to have, and Ted has it in abundance. He is a legal adult and a mental child. That's a bad combination. This is not to say my family is filled with saints. I learned a long time ago that I have some issues from my upbringing. However, I have tried very hard to overcome this. If Ted was trying, I might help, but he's not trying. I did, however, contact his ex and arranged to meet up with the kids to meet them. I let her know I wanted to be involved in their life, even if it's seeing her a few times a year. She told me that Ted said I was an abusive a-hole who stole his money. I let her know my side and clarified that she didn't have to have anything to do with me if she didn't want to. I just wanted to know my family. Their father being an a-hole shouldn't mean the rest of the family is going to cut them off. She pretty much told me that she wants nothing to do with my family at all. My parents made her feel like a bitch for leaving Ted and demanded she let them help raise the kids. Knowing how Ted turned out, she wants nothing to do with them, even if they are nice. She is afraid Ted will have access to the kids. From the sound of it, Ted might have been an unpleasant partner. So I sent them $500 for the holidays and to use in legal fees, letting her know it's not from Ted, never was from Ted. Please do not count it towards payments owed. I also sent the kids a onesie and a little outfit, though they're too young to really know I sent presents. She thanked me and is going to be sending me some pictures through Facebook and maybe I can meet them. She doesn't know. I guess she thinks I'm going to use this connection to help my brother. I let her know I actually want no contact with Ted and he wasn't aware I had a Facebook. I also don't have my parents on Facebook, so it's not an issue. Hopefully I will be able to be in their life. If not, I completely understand why she might not want to. Anyway, I don't hate my parents. They have issues, but they usually are pretty cool. This has to be one of the most annoying things they ever tried to do. However, Ted getting kicked out is something I hope helps him out, as I won't be. So that's the update. Thanks for reading. Good for you for standing up for yourself, OP. You actually got the truth out of your parents that they don't want Ted in their house either. Maybe this situation will help him reflect on himself, but let's not hold our breath on that one. In any case, thanks for sharing, OP, and hopefully you do get to meet the kids. Take care. And now let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Naya Sonod. We're going to court? Okay. The setting, United States, northern neck of Virginia. The situation, bought land and built a house on it. Back when my wife and I were much more newlywed than we are now, we hired ourselves an architect and went whole hog on having our cozy little dream home designed. While this was being done, we went shopping around for a parcel of land on which to have it built, which went quickly and easily. And we even got a pretty nice deal on a half-acre lot that was just far enough back in the sticks for us to be happy, but close enough to our jobs that it wasn't much of a commute. Best part of all, no homeowners association. We made very sure with our lawyer that no previous owner had ever had the title amended to allow for any HOA nonsense as well, because that's a thing some real estate developers like to do. They'll buy up a property, get the title amended to force the membership of that property into a local HOA that they usually operate or are in cahoots with those that do, and then resell it with that as a new requirement for any prospective buyer to actually agree to when they sign the title. Flash forward to August 2019. COVID was just around the corner, but nobody knew that yet. Everything was normal out in those parts, and my wife and I had since moved to a different location, but retained that property as one of our various rentals. It was our dream home for several years, and we loved that place. Moving was tough. It was a good neighborhood out there, and folks were very welcoming. Then, a company that's totally not named Ryan Homes or anything even slightly similar came in and spent some years buying everything up back there that got the market and pressuring folks into selling, which worked out for them only too well. And, of course, then gentrified everything. For 3 years and some change, there was massive amounts of the old being torn down and hauled out and the new being built up and sold. The HOA was built right in because, of course it was. Folks with money enough to throw down on crappily built houses that looked nice from the front moved in 1 by 1 and 2 by 2. Property values in the area skyrocketed. Property taxes skyrocketed right along with them, and more of the less poor people were forced to sell because they got taxed out of their own homes. my wife and I knew what was coming from the get-go. We knew those dinguses from Totally Not Ryan Holmes were going to come sniffing around our way, not to try to buy us out, but to see if they could schmooze or threaten us into joining the HOA they were installing. It was inevitable. Lots of information is public record. They knew we had money. They knew we were living below our means by 2 orders of magnitude. They knew we clearly meant to be exactly where we were because we sure didn't have to be. They knew they didn't have a snowflake's hope in hell of pricing us out on taxes, so they tried nagging us to death and coming right up to the line of harassment, always to talk to us about joining the HOA. They failed. They got told by one expensive lawyer to find something else to do before we all get super busy helping them find things to worry about. And so, they desisted for a few years. Then my wife and I moved and got the property set up as a rental. Absolutely Not Ryan Holmes starts bothering our tenants there, both trying to get them to pressure us into putting the property into the HOA, as well as getting our tenants riled up with the most outrageous lies about what would happen if we, the owners, don't protect our renters better. My wife and I were livid hearing about this crap, and so we got a hold of Definitely Not Ryan Holmes to let them know that this was our formal request that they stop bothering our tenants and that all further communications would be from our really expensive lawyer. They must have assumed we were bluffing, or maybe whoever was in charge of thinking that day didn't show up for work because they just kept right on with their nonsense. It got so bad that they were even sending fake but convincing looking envelopes with eviction notice printed on them that upon being opened said, "Could be what you find in your mailbox one day without our wondrous HOA," and containing information about the benefits of the HOA. We gathered it all up and got the tenants to talk to our lawyer and got the police involved to get the ball rolling on a harassment investigation. Another formal request to cease and desist was sent to Never Ryan Holmes by the very expensive lawyer, which they utterly ignored. I do think their guy that's supposed to come to work and think about things quit a long time ago. Maybe he never told anyone, maybe nobody noticed. Whatever the situation on their end, when my lawyer talked to their lawyer, they said that their client was doing everything legally and that if we wanted to pursue the matter in court, that's what we'd have to do. So we did. I'm not sure what kind of lawyer magic my lawyer and his fellow legal demons worked on this front, but we were in court for 1 single hour when my lawyer and their 4 lawyers and the judge had a private talk after the preliminary hearing. Half hour later, and the lawyers from Maybe Ryan Holmes came back into the courtroom looking like a quartet of cats that had been pissed on. My lawyer takes a seat beside me and says, "They're going to settle." And I was like, "I didn't think we were that far along into this yet. What happened?" And he said, "They built 51 homes in County of Concern over 2 years. Every single one of them was inspected before close of sale by a real estate agent that never actually got around to getting her home inspector license. And that's how, was it Ryan Holmes the whole time, paid me 10 grand to not sue them while they got bent over by the county and the state and tag teamed like the new boy with the pretty lips in a prison yard." Wow, OP. They wanted a day in court, they got a day in court, and a lot more. Good for you. Thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.